Steph Marie. Today we are talking about the types of boundaries. 7 types of boundaries: physical, emotional, attitude barrier, perceptual barrier, impersonal barrier, culture barrier, language barrier, and so on. Today I'll be explaining about barriers. The first barrier is physical barrier. It is a stated barrier that keeps boundaries and block areas to other people. It was mostly your own comfort zone when you just spend the time with yourself than other people. It means that you have been isolating yourself for like a full while, and you have no interest to talk to people like this. Example, you're very shy and often very scared of talking to people and quiet all the time. Always do something for yourself. You're just scared that people are not interested what you had. So how can we resolve this? Just take the time for the people that finding talents that they'll notice, or maybe open up to people that you have interested in what they're talking about. Next, emotional barrier. Emotional barrier. It is a barrier that expressed where people who had intense emotion and people wouldn't understand on what you were saying. The 3 types of one can be furious, sadness, or the peer pressure. For example, if you're feeling stuck up or peer pressure, it means you wanted to say something that you don't want to do it, but unfortunately you need to since it's your task, but you're not really ready for it. How to resolve it? Take your time to calm down your mind, and rethink what you're going to do, and talk to someone you trust to overcome the situation you had. So, the next boundary is culture barrier. It is a barrier that we're challenging to a cross culture, having you and the other people who live in different places and who speaks differently. Or maybe we have a medium. Maybe talking to communicate someone. For example, you met with someone from another place, but you won't understand what they were saying, or had no interest or something you do not know. That actually means that you had no idea what they were saying, or you had no idea what place they are. That's all I could say. But how to resolve this? How to overcome this? Be open-minded and express your interest and learn the different cultures' awareness. Even send feedback that you don't know or what to understand. Okay. Number 4, language barrier. It is a barrier to communicate between people who are unable to understand to speak common language. Any type of language that you don't know, like communicating with different people who speaks common language that you don't understand, like Chinese, Japanese, African, etc., or maybe other people won't understand this. How to solve this? You need to learn what they were saying of their language, or use body language so that what were you trying to say. But the most common one is that they have to make them speak English or understand what they're saying by learning the other cultures that of their language. Next one is attitude barrier. It is a barrier that behavior, participation, and assumption and discriminate against people with disabilities. These are barriers that often emerge from the lack of understanding which people to ignore, to judge, to represent, and person with disability. Examples is inferiority because of the person is impaired in one major functions, or people believe individual is a second-class citizen. That's what that we take. Their worship, ignorance, the separate effect, and stereotypes and fear. But how can we overcome this situation? Foster and respectful with positive attitude were stuck often involved in this disaster reduction, and focus on the people's abilities and citizens, not their disabilities. Ask people about their preferences too. Next one is perceptual barrier. Anything that inhibits or prevented us making accurate precipitation is called particular barrier or an particular error. It often results as preconceived ideas, perceived hope about people and situations. What are the examples? For example, you may perceive a situation differently if the person were speaking with a smiling or frowning, has a body odor, and standing too close or not giving you direct eye contact. That means they're very, very nervous what they're going to say. Well, I can relate this. How to prevent this? Seek clarity. If you are unclear about expectations, perception, preference, or beliefs of another person in the interaction, confusion may arise. The key to overcome this perceptual barriers is asking questions to gain a sense of clarity and ensure that you and the other person are on the same page. And for the lastly is personal barrier. What is this? That creates a willing to bet. And personal barrier is something that people that you don't, if you want to say something and it looks like I see, it's like agree to disagree. It's looks like they have other opinions on what they're going to say, which leads to an argument towards each other. So the examples are in this impersonal barrier is lack of precipitation is impossible to communicate with someone who does want to. Lack of open-mindedness is tough to communicate with someone who refuses to explore different points of view, opinions, or ideas about the world. So that's going to be tough. So how to overcome this? Use simple words to convey the message. To the effective process of impersonal communication, you have to simplify language. Learn the art of listening. Keep composure when communicating. Provide constructive criticism. So that's all the 7 barriers that I can explain now. And that's all I could have. And thank you for listening about my project or something I can say.